So, on the subject of Best Friends Forever, the fanfiction. This fanfiction is a concept very, not similar, but loosely kind of similar to the one that I am working on with my story. So I found this one to be particularly interesting because I would like to see how people think of these stories, of this concept. So what happens is, this is a Celestia story, and what happens is she goes to a castle, and there are baby main six. Well, some baby main six. There's baby Pinky, there's baby Rarity, there's baby Applejack, and baby Rainbow Dash. And Twilight is full alicorn, full power, ridiculously broke, strong. And so what happened was, Fluttershy died. Spike is asleep. Spike is hibernating. What would... See, there's too many questions. There's just too many questions. Yeah, there's too many questions. That's just insane. So what happens is, I'll give it in order. Celestia goes through a bunch of... to a castle. There's a bunch of spells, counter spell, or protective spells on the thing, but she could get through everything, which is strange because if already I'm having questions. This is why I said one-shots are particularly hard, because if anybody thinks about them, they're immediately just, like, it's hard to justify everything. So, she flies through all these spells and these protections and counter spells of the barrier, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. But the problem is that once she goes into the nursery inside of the castle and she sees the things, Twilight comes in, and Twilight's as big as her. It says that they stand like face to face, and Twilight is stronger than her. Like it outright says that. It says Twilight basically starts squeezing Celestia's chest, and Celestia can't breathe, and she's like she has to be really careful because Twilight is so much stronger than her that she could just get killed in like a second. So then that automatically goes to, if that were the case, then how would Twilight's barriers and protection spells be weaker than Celestia, or how would Celestia be able to just break through them already easily? So that's already one question that I'm like, that's like one strike. In other words, because, yeah, Twilight would obviously have put up a very, very strong protective spells if she's stronger than Celestia. Okay, so anyways, what happens is Twilight tells Celestia to leave. She's like, you need to leave, you're not taking them from me. And Pinky is like, Pinky doesn't want Celestia to leave. They're babies, so she's like, no, like, party. And, like, Twilight is like, fine, because she's about to cry or whatever. So Celestia follows Twilight and Celestia are talking. And Celestia is like, she's like looking at the walls, and there are pictures of like the main six when they're older, and then they're like pictures of them when they're also like babies. And Celestia is like, yeah, like, this is age magic, and you shouldn't have done this. And Twilight's getting mad, and she's like, I hate that you say it's evil. And Celestia is like, not evil. She says it's not evil simply so that Twilight won't get mad and murder her. And so that already makes me question another again. Why would you turn them into babies? If you can age magic them down, why not just age magic them down to being like 18 or something? There's so many questions. Also, I am going to definitely address this in my story, because age magic is something that I considered, because I am going to use magic on Spike to accelerate his age, to get him to be way bigger, and obviously amplification magic to make him way bigger. Like Twilight's, like, I can make him super busted in my story. But I was considering that because I was like, well, if you can use age magic to forward age, why would Twilight have not rewinded them? And I think the answer that I came to was that it doesn't do anything other than postpone the inevitable. When her parents died, she was so stages of like decline in Twilight for my story. Should I talk about this here? This is a review. I'll talk about this. I'll talk about this in one of my fan fiction. In one of my fan fiction things, probably right after this. Anyways, what happened? That's another one. Like, why would you age magic them down to being fillies? That's really weird. Or what are they called? Not colts. Foals. Why would you age magic them down to being foals? Anyways, what happens is Celestia's following Twilight, and they go to Twilight's room or whatever, and Celestia's like, did Spike approve of what you're doing or whatever? And Twilight's like, Spike fell asleep. He went in hibernation before all of this happened. She's like, he'll come out of it eventually, but that won't be for a long time. So we'll see. I'll talk to him when he comes out of his whatchamacallit. So then Celestia is like, would Fluttershy have approved? And Twilight gets like super mad, and she starts like the whole castle starts shaking because of how strong Twilight is and how mad she is, and Twilight starts freaking out, and she's like, don't talk about stuff that you don't know about. And Celestia takes like a slowly step like walking towards her, and she's like, you weren't there. She was so old and tiny and helpless, and there was nothing she could do. And Twilight's freaking out, and everything's getting worse, and Celestia is walking close to her. And this was really sad. The dude really hit, like, oh man, he really hit he really hit a moment, but he got a good moment in, but I don't feel like it was A, earned, nor B, was it impactful enough. It was impactful, but it could have been way more impactful. He got the dialogue super good and correct, and the moment super good and correct, but he dropped the ball because there was nothing after it, because there was no... Okay, so anyways, what happens is as Celestia is drawing closer, Twilight's freaking out more and more, and like the room is basically becoming a tornado. Like everything is shaking, and Twilight's just going, like, getting madder and madder. And hold on, I have to like sneeze or something. And like what happens is Celestia gets right in Twilight's face, and Twilight is like, you're just mad because she's like, you're just, they start talking about Celestia's friends. She's like, how many friends have you lost? She's like, Twilight is like, you act like you've had so many friends. She's like, how many have you saved? She's like, you haven't saved any. And Celestia's like, do you want to know how many I saved? And she walks directly up to Twilight, like right in her face, and Twilight is just staring at her. And she's like, just one. And she like looks at her, and Twilight like her eyes just widen, and she's like, what? She's like, no. And then Celestia magic spears Twilight right through the heart. She pulls up Twilight Sparkle in my story, which is like literally almost something that's definitely going to happen in my story. And the impact of that, like 3 seconds, is like, holy moly. Because like it's such a good moment. Like, yeah, Twilight was her friend, and she had saved her. She had immortality, and she was going to live forever, which was said earlier in the story. And she killed her. And it's like, dang, what are you gonna do now? I'm stunned into, this might be the most saddest story that I've heard so far. And it's like Celestia walked away, and she glanced over her shoulder once at Twilight's body before walking back to the nursery. And I was like, oh, so we're not. Celestia is kind of sad, but it's not really like that. It like, you didn't need... It's the thing again with stories, and it just blows my mind because people don't get like how to do good drama a lot of the times. Like, we know she's gonna go back and get the main six. Like, obviously that's what she went there for. But if you would have had like Celestia just break down there and cry like and just be absolutely devastated, like that would have been sad. That would have been really, really sad. Like that would have been really good, and then just have it end. Like you could end it there, and the the assumption that the reader has is, yeah, she had a really good cry. She probably was devastated. She went back, got the other four, and took them and left. But instead, she leaves there. She goes and she talks to the babies, and the babies are like, "Where is Twilight?" And like Celestia lies to them, which is not fun again because I don't picture Celestia as the type to lie either. Again, in Lost and Found, Luna is like, my sister is a lot of things, but a liar is not one of them. I always think that's such a good line, and I always want Celestia to be that. I don't think Celestia would lie. But yeah, the guy, he missed the mark on the emotion that he had captured in that second, and just kind of threw it away. But also another gripe I had was Celestia was like, I couldn't defeat her. She was thinking, and she was like, I couldn't defeat her now, even if I wanted to. She was like, maybe if Luna was here, but she's not. And I'm just like, where's Luna? Like, is Luna at home? Did she just chill? Where's Princess Cadence? That's Twilight's sister. Why wouldn't she be concerned? There's like so many. That's three, and that would be three strikes already. Like, I'm already like, what, was Twilight completely fine with her parents dying and Shining Armor dying? What when does this take place? If she's Alicorn Twilight, where's Starlight Glimmer? Was she not considered a friend that much? Which is why I wanted to include Starlight in my story. I even wanted to include something having to do with Sunset Shimmer, but I really didn't know what to do with Sunset Shimmer, and Sunset Shimmer has a Twilight of her own and a world of her own, so I didn't really know what to do there. But this story had some interesting concepts. I think that with the one shot, you just generally have a lot of, that kind of doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you fix that? That doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you do something about that? I would say that this story was... Oh, also the Twilight Sparkle voice actor had like a weird lisp on her voice or something, and it bugged me. If this was a good Twilight Sparkle voice actor, just on the Twilight Sparkle voice on the conversations, it probably would have been a 4 out of 5. But I think I have to give it a 3 out of 5. Honestly, if not for that part where Celestia was like 1, where she's like, you want to know how many I've saved? And she said 1. I probably would have gave this a 2. A meh. It's a strong concept, hamstrung by very, very poor execution most of the time. But that moment raises it up to a 3, I think. But it was interesting to hear a concept that's kind of not like mine. It is Twilight going crazy because one of her friends died, which is where my concept originated. But my concept has evolved into so much more elaborate of a thing that I don't feel like it's even remotely the same. But yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. Good effort, poor execution.